Hey guys, how's it going? So we're going to be going over the new set of spoilers that just came out for the another star deck. This time we're going over the blue one, the mermaid one. So this one's pretty interesting, so we'll go ahead and get right into it. So first off, we've got the ruler. So it's Shayla. She's a mermaid with Judgment of 3 and energized for blue, obviously. And she has a passive ability of the weather is rain during your turn. So this is going to be important to note as you go on. Everything about this deck has to do with rain, and something to note is in the article, and also Jordan had mentioned, is there will be other weather types, but the only one we know so far is rain, so that's obviously what it goes on with. And it has a tap ability. You can tap her to search your deck for a card named Weather Change Rain. Reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So you can only assume that there'll be other chants called Weather Change Thunder, Weather Change Sunny, or some different things like that. Very much similar to Pokemon the video game, I guess, how it plays with rain and different weather effects. And then obviously it has the weird ability that we don't know of yet at the bottom. All we know is it looks like an umbrella with rain coming off of it. So her J activation is she becomes a 1200 ruler mermaid, and the weather is rain. And when she enters the field, you also draw a card. So she makes it so all the time the weather is rain. Whereas before, it's only rain during your turn. So that's something important to keep in mind. So going into the cards, so first up we have Angelic Voice Mermaid. So this is a 1-cost 3/3 mermaid. And when it enters your field, if it's raining, you get to draw a card. So pretty straightforward. It's a really good 1-cost. Drawing a card is always a good card to have. Next we have a 3-cost Aqua Rifle Mermaid, 700, and has the ability of when it enters the field, you get to rest target resonator. However, if it's raining, you get to return it to its owner's hand instead. So that's a pretty good resonator, being able to put it into the field and bounce a resonator to your opponent's hand. And it could potentially get stronger as it goes on, because Jordan did say cards and rulers in general in these sets, in these star decks, will get stronger as the game progresses, as we get more cards from different booster boxes. Next we have a 2-cost quick cast chant called Cleansing Rain, and it returns target rested resonator to its owner's hand. However, if it's raining, you get to put it on top of its owner's deck instead. So that's a pretty decent card, especially for blue. Being able to do that bouncing effect is always good to have. Next is Giant Sea Jelly. So this is pretty cool art, I think, for this one. It's a 2-cost 5/5 jellyfish resonator, and it gains 200 as long as it's raining. So if you're only on the ruler side, as long as it's your turn, it'll be 700 resonator. But when it goes to your opponent's turn, it'll switch back to 5/5 unless you're J activated or have some other effect to keep it with that buff. But yeah, so 2-cost 7/7, that's all right, I guess. Next is, this is Melissa's favorite card. It's Pecco the Wise Dolphin. So obviously it's a pink dolphin with a monocle. It's a 2-cost 6/6, and it gains flying as long as it's raining. So 2-cost 6/6 flyer, it's okay. Hopefully there'll be more support for dolphins to make it a little bit stronger. Next is Princess Shayla's Attendant. So it's a 1-cost 3/3 mermaid that gains 2/2 as long as it's raining. So it's a 5/5 1-cost, isn't too bad. And next we have Stormbolt. So this is a 2-cost chant. You can choose one of these abilities, but if it's raining, you get to choose 3. So most likely it'll be raining, unless if your opponent, say, as the set progresses, has a chant, a quick cast chant that changes the weather to something else. You could play that in response. Maybe your opponent changes the weather, so you can only play one of the 3 abilities. So I don't know, there could be some interactions, but you can choose up to 3, and the 3 abilities is draw a card, prevent all damage that would be dealt by target J resonator until end of turn, and rest target resonator. So you can either choose one of those or all 3 of those depending on the weather. Next is the White Whale. So it's a 3-cost 1,000 whale, and this card cannot attack or block unless the weather is rain. So if you're only on your ruler side with no extra abilities, as long as it's your opponent's turn, you cannot block. But when it goes back to your turn, you can attack unless another effect prohibits it. So it's going to be an interesting interaction, because it's a pretty strong for being a 3-cost and a 1,000. That's pretty good in my opinion. But that caveat at the bottom could prove to be pretty detrimental to it, depending on what cards are revealed and how those different interactions take place. So next we have Wave Rider Mermaid. So it's a 4-cost 1,000 mermaid, and it gains 2/2 and flying as long as it's raining. And she also has the ability of you can pay 2 and rest target resonator as long as it's raining. So that's a pretty decent card. So if you, assuming it's raining, it's a 12/12 flyer for 4 costs, so that's not too bad. It could have some pretty good interactions. But I mean, we'll see if there's more interactions with Mermaid specifically too. So this next is the weather change rain. So this is the 1 cost quick cast, and the weather becomes rain until end of turn. And you draw a card, so pretty straightforward. I assume that they'll have this for all the different types of weather. Will be 1 cost quick cast, changes it to this type of weather, draw a card. So this will be the first of it, I'd assume. So that's pretty cool. You can play on your opponent's turn if you really need to block with that well, but you're not J activated and different things like that. Next is the special stone. So it's a shoal coral stone. You treat it as a water magic stone. You tap for blue, and it has the ability that you can banish it, and if you banish it, the weather becomes rain until end of turn. So I feel that that's sort of a last resort ability, because you don't want to get rid of your stones per se, or you could do it in reaction, I think. So in reaction to hook, you could instead banish it in order to give yourself that effect for other things. But it's sort of a last resort. You really need to block with that well or something like that. And then lastly, you can see the art for the water stone. Once again, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the art style. I like the ideas behind the art, how it looks, but I don't really like the execution. I don't know, something about it I don't like, but still nice looking. But yeah, overall, it's pretty interesting, especially with the weather mechanics and all that, how that's gonna play into it. I'm pretty excited to see, especially the support for it, not only for the rain, but the other types of weather we might see, and if that's going to interact with her, or if that interacts with the other rulers, if we're going to see other rulers throughout the cluster, or just throughout this upcoming set that interact with weather. It'd be pretty cool, but let us know what you guys think, and yeah.